The silent Leviathan. The U.S. Prometheus drifted through the asteroid field like a tomb among the stars. For 3 centuries, it had remained hidden in the Taurus void, its massive hull reflecting nothing but darkness. No signals emanated from its systems. No lights pierced its windows. To any passing scanner, it was just another piece of space debris. Captain Vexhall of the Galactic Coalition adjusted his 4 arms nervously as his science vessel approached the derelict. His crystalline eyes refracted the data streams from multiple sensors, each reading more impossible than the last. "Commander Thrix," he chittered to his second-in-command, "these readings cannot be accurate. This vessel matches no known design parameters." Thrix's tentacles rippled with uncertainty. The cephaloid's chromatophores shifted to deep purple, indicating concern. "The hull composition is unknown, Captain. Our scanners can barely penetrate the outer layer, but the size, it's larger than our capital ships." The bridge fell silent as the Prometheus came into visual range. The human warship stretched for nearly 2 kilometers, its angular design both primitive and somehow advanced. Weapon ports dotted its surface like sleeping eyes. Massive engines, cold and dark, suggested power beyond comprehension. "By the Ancient Ones," whispered Navigator Cree, her feathered crest flattening against her skull. "What manner of beings built such a monster?" Vexhall made his decision. "Prepare a boarding team. Standard archaeological protocols. If this is a tomb ship, we must know whose." The docking was surprisingly easy. Ancient magnetic clamps accepted their shuttle without resistance, as if the ship had been waiting. As the airlock cycled, Vexhall felt his carapace tighten with unease. Everything was too easy, too welcoming. The boarding party consisted of 6 beings. Vexhall himself, Thrix, 2 warrior-cased draconians, a mechanist drone, and their youngest crew member, scientist Yura. They moved through the airlock into a corridor that stretched beyond their light's reach. "Atmosphere is breathable," Yura reported, her voice barely above a whisper. "Nitrogen-oxygen mix. And Captain, it's fresh. The life support is still functioning." After 300 years, Thrix's tentacles coiled defensively. Impossible. They advanced deeper into the ship. The corridors were wide enough for their diverse forms, with strange markings on the walls. Text in an unknown script ran alongside pictographs showing bipedal figures in various activities. These beings, Cree observed, studying the images, they appear to have only 2 arms. How limiting. The mechanist drone suddenly chirped in alarm. Energy signature detected. Low level but consistent. Source: ship's core, approximately 800 meters ahead. Vexhall considered retreating, but curiosity overrode caution. They pressed forward, passing through sections labeled in mysterious script. Cafeterias sat empty, their tables still set. Quarters remained neat and orderly, as if their occupants had simply vanished mid-task. Then they found the command center. The bridge was a marvel of unknown technology. Holoprojectors hung dormant from the ceiling. Control stations wrapped around a central command chair that seemed designed for the bipedal creatures from the wall art. Everything was covered in a thin layer of dust, except for one console that pulsed with a faint blue light. "Don't touch anything," Vexhall warned, but Yura was already approaching the active console. "Captain, this appears to be some kind of status display. I can't read the language, but these symbols, they might indicate system status." The young scientist reached out with her primary manipulator. The moment she touched the console, everything changed. Lights blazed to life throughout the bridge. Holoprojectors activated, filling the air with cascading data streams. A voice spoke in the unknown language, its tone distinctly artificial but somehow warm. Then the floor began to vibrate. "We've activated something," Thrix shouted over the rising hum. "Captain, we need to leave." But it was too late. Blast doors sealed every exit. The vibration intensified, and a new sound emerged, the distinct hiss of cryogenic systems venting. "Look," Cree pointed to a section of the bridge wall that was sliding apart. Behind it, a row of cylindrical pods began to emerge. Frost covered their surfaces, but through the ice, they could see shapes, bipedal forms. The creatures who built this ship, the central pod's cover began to retract. Steam billowed out as centuries-old preservation systems completed their cycle. Inside, a figure stirred. Female, by the physiological indicators, with dark hair and features that somehow seemed both delicate and fierce. Her eyes opened. Brown, Vexel noted with his analytical mind, even as his warrior instincts screamed danger. Those eyes focused with startling clarity, taking in the alien forms surrounding her pod. The human sat up slowly, muscles responding after centuries of sleep. She wore a uniform of unknown design, with insignia that meant nothing to the boarding party. When she spoke, her voice was hoarse but steady. Identification protocol. State your designations and intent. The universal translator struggled with the language but managed a rough interpretation. Vexol stepped forward, trying to appear non-threatening despite his armored bulk. I am Captain Vexhall of the Galactic Coalition science vessel, Curious Endeavor. We discovered your ship drifting in the Taurus void. We mean no harm. The human's expression shifted through several emotions: confusion, calculation, and finally, grim determination. She swung her legs out of the pod, standing with surprising steadiness. I am Commander Sarah Chen, Executive Officer of the U.S. Prometheus. She paused, studying each alien form. Where is the rest of my crew? Where is Earth? The question hung in the air like a funeral bell. Vexel's translator struggled with his response, but the meaning was clear enough. Commander Chen, Earth has been silent for over 300 years. Your species, we believe them extinct. Chen's face went pale. She gripped the edge of her pod for support, then straightened with visible effort. 300 years. No, that's not. The contingency protocols should have. She moved to the central console with purpose, her fingers flying over controls that responded to her touch. The holoprojector shifted, displaying star charts that automatically updated with current positions. Shen's expression grew more grave with each passing second. This is wrong. All of it. The colony signals, the defensive networks, even the automated beacons. Everything's gone dark. She turned to face the aliens, and Vexol saw something in her eyes that made his warrior instincts scream louder. What happened to my people? We don't know. Yura spoke up, her youth making her brave enough to address the human directly. The historical records speak of a great conflict, the Hegemony War. Many species fought, many were lost. Earth went silent during the final battles. When the war ended, your world was empty. Chen's hands clenched into fists. The Hegemony. Yes, we were fighting them. The Prometheus was part of Operation Longshot. A final contingency if Earth fell. She looked around the bridge, then back at the aliens. You said you're from a galactic coalition. The Hegemony? Defeated, Fricks answered. Fractured into smaller states, most of which joined the coalition for mutual protection. And Earth's allies? The Centauri Compact. The Mars Defense Force. Silence answered her. Chen closed her eyes, absorbing the weight of implied extinction. When she opened them again, something had changed. The confusion was gone, replaced by cold purpose. Computer, she said aloud. Execute Awakening Protocol 77 Alpha. Command authorization. Chen, Sarah. Phoenix from Ashes. Authorization confirmed. The ship's AI responded. Initiating full crew revival. Warning. Detecting non-human biosignatures on bridge. Shall I engage defense protocols? Negative. These beings are. Chen paused, studying the aliens who had inadvertently awakened her. Guests. For now. Around them, more cryogenic pods began to emerge from hidden compartments. The bridge expanded, walls literally moving back to accommodate additional stations. The hum of power grew stronger as ancient systems came online. Captain, the mechanist drone chirped urgently, Energy readings are escalating exponentially. This ship, it's coming alive. Vexel watched in awe as 24 pods opened simultaneously. Humans of various appearances emerged, each moving with the same purposeful efficiency as Chen. They took positions at stations without need for orders, their training evident even after centuries of sleep. "Commander," one of them reported, a male with graying hair and stern features. "All systems responding. Weapons charging. Shields at 40% and rising. Drive systems. Christ, the quantum core is actually stable." "Thank you, Lieutenant Morrison," Chen replied. She turned back to Vexel. "Captain, I apologize for the abrupt change in circumstances, but I need information. Everything you know about what happened to humanity, and I need to know if any of the old enemy forces survived." Before Vexel could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. But they weren't from the Prometheus. Thrix's tentacles went white with alarm as his personal communicator activated. "Captain, the Curious Endeavor is reporting multiple contacts dropping out of hyperspace. Configuration matches. Oh no. Hegemony remnant forces. They must have detected the Prometheus coming online." Chen's expression hardened. She turned to her crew. "Battle stations. All hands, this is not a drill. We have potential hostiles inbound." She looked back at Vexel. "Captain, it seems your people are about to see why the hegemony feared humanity enough to try to wipe us out. I suggest you recall your vessel immediately. Things are about to get intense." As if to emphasize her words, the Prometheus shuddered. Not from impact, but from its own awakening power. Weapon systems hummed to life. Shields flared into existence, visible as a shimmer around the mighty ship. And deep in its core, something else stirred. Something that made every alien on the bridge step back instinctively. The weapon that Earth had built as its final legacy was awake, and it remembered its purpose. The last guardian. The hegemony remnant fleet dropped out of hyperspace in perfect attack formation. 12 ships, each a veteran of the old wars, their hulls scared but their weapons eager. They had detected the awakening of the human warship and came to finish what their predecessors had started. On the bridge of the Prometheus, Commander Sarah Chen studied the tactical display with cold efficiency. The alien crew of the Curious Endeavor watched in mixture of fear and fascination as humanity's last warship prepared for battle. "Commander," Lieutenant Morrison reported, "enemy fleet composition confirmed. 8 destroyer-class vessels, 3 heavy cruisers, and Dan. That's the Decimator, sir. Hegemony Command Dreadnought. Records show it was responsible for glassing Proxima Colony." Chen's jaw tightened. "I remember the reports. 40,000 colonists." She turned to Vexel. "Captain, your ship needs to clear the engagement zone immediately. What we're about to do. There's a reason they called us monsters." The Draconian's warriors among Vexel's crew shifted uneasily. These humans spoke of war with the casual confidence of apex predators. It challenged everything the Coalition taught about extinct species. "Commander Chen," Vexel asked carefully, "your ship is 300 years old. Those hegemony vessels have been upgraded with modern technology. Are you certain?" A smile played at the corner of Chen's mouth. It wasn't pleasant. "Captain, the Prometheus wasn't just any warship. We were the prototype for Project Cerberus, Earth's answer to total war." She nodded to her weapons officer. "Mr. Kozlov, bring the Hellhound system online." "Aye, Commander. Quantum targeting locked. Nanite torpedoes armed. Reality anchors. Stable." The Russian's accent was thick, but his hands moved with practiced precision over controls that looked more like art than technology. Through the viewports, the hegemony fleet approached in classic hammer formation. The Decimator led from the center, its massive bulk bristling with weapons. Energy readings spiked as they prepared to fire. "Incoming transmission," the communications officer announced. "Hegemony command frequency." "Let's hear it," Chen ordered. The screen flickered to life, revealing a creature that made the Coalition crew recoil. The hegemony commander was a nightmare of biomechanical fusion, multiple species forcibly combined into something that should not exist. When it spoke, its voice was a harmony of screams. Human vessel, you should have remained sleeping. Your species died for good reason. Surrender now, and we will grant you the mercy of quick termination. Chen stood from her command chair, facing the screen with unwavering resolve. I am Commander Sarah Chen of the United Earth vessel Prometheus. You stand accused of genocide against the human colonies. The sentence is extinction. You have 30 seconds to surrender unconditionally. The amalgam commander laughed, a sound like breaking glass. 1 ship against 12. Humanity's arrogance survived even in death. Open fire. The space between fleets erupted in violence. Hegemony weapons lanced out, enough firepower to crack a moon. But the Prometheus's shields held, rippling with energies that defied physics. Return fire, Chen ordered calmly. Pattern Omega. Let's show them why Earth built us. What happened next would be debated by military historians for centuries. The Prometheus fired, but not with conventional weapons. Reality itself seemed to bend around the ship. Miniature black holes erupted among the hegemony formation, gravitational distortions that tore at ship hulls. Nanite swarms launched from torpedo tubes, crossing space in seconds to begin eating enemy vessels from the inside out. But the true horror was the Hellhound system. 3 hegemony destroyers simply ceased, not destroyed, not vaporized, but erased from existence as if they had never been. The quantum weapons literally unwrote them from reality. By the void, Thrix whispered, his tentacles pale with shock. What kind of weapon is that? The kind you build when faced with extinction, Chen replied grimly. The kind you hoped you'd never have to use. The battle, if it could be called that, lasted less than 5 minutes. The Decimator tried to retreat, its commander screaming about ancient horrors and humanity's cursed technology. But the Prometheus had already deployed interdiction fields. There was no escape. As the last hegemony ship disintegrated under combined fire, Chen ordered a stand down. The bridge fell silent except for the hum of systems cycling back to standby mode. Commander, Yura spoke up, her young voice trembling. Was that why they tried to destroy Earth? Because you had such weapons? Chen turned to the young scientist, and for the first time, her expression softened. No, we developed these weapons because they tried to destroy us. The hegemony attacked Earth first, demanded our subjugation. When we refused, they began systematic genocide. She gestured to the tactical display. The Prometheus and her sister ships were our response. Deterrents that became necessities. Sister ships, Vexel asked, his warrior instincts suddenly very alert. A ghost of a smile crossed Chen's face. Did you think we'd build only one? Computer, initiate protocol resurrection. Authorization. Phoenix command, all birds rise. Across the bridge, displays flared to life showing star charts. Dozens of points began blinking, scattered across the galaxy. Hidden. Waiting. Awakening. Commander Chen, the ship's eye spoke, its tone somehow conveying satisfaction, receiving acknowledgement from Alliance, Retribution, Defiance, and 17 other vessels. Crew revival in progress. Additionally, detecting encrypted signals from subsurface installations on Titan, Europa. And, interesting, the Mars deep bunkers are still active. The Coalition crew watched in stunned silence as humanity revealed its final secret. Earth might have died, but its children had hidden, buried deep in moons and asteroids, waiting in ships designed to outlast civilizations. Chen activated the communications array. This is Commander Sarah Chen to all surviving human forces. The wait is over. Earth's children come home. The responses came in waves. Voices from the dark, accents from a dozen Earth cultures. Brazilian Portuguese from a ship hidden in a nebula. Mandarin from a base carved into an asteroid. Hindi from a station orbiting a brown dwarf. Humanity hadn't died. It had dispersed, hidden, waited for the sign to return. Captain Vexal. Chen turned to the alien commander. I believe we need to discuss the future. The coalition you represent, is it truly dedicated to peace? Vexal's 4 arms gestured in what his species considered deep respect. Commander, after what I've witnessed today, I can say with certainty that the coalition would welcome humanity's return. Your technology, your resilience, but more importantly, your restraint. You could have destroyed us when we boarded. You could have annihilated worlds in revenge. But you chose otherwise. Chen nodded slowly. We learned something during the war. Strength without wisdom is just another path to extinction. Earth may be gone, but perhaps. She looked at the star charts showing awakening human positions. Perhaps we can build something better. Together. Over the next hours, the bridge became a center of frantic activity. Human ships reported in from across the galaxy. Hidden colonies revealed themselves. The Mars bunkers, buried deep beneath the red sand, brought massive shield generators online. Titan Base announced it had maintained a population of 30,000 in underground cities. Europa Station reported functional shipyards, ready to build. But the greatest surprise came from deep space. Commander, the sensor officer called out, excitement breaking through military protocol. We're receiving a transmission. It's using Earth standard frequency. Origin point is the Magellanic Cloud. Chen's eyes widened. The generation ships. They actually made it. On screen, a figure appeared. Older, weathered by years of deep space travel, but unmistakably human. She wore a uniform similar to Chen's but modified by necessity and time. This is Admiral Rosa Martinez, commanding the Earth Exodus Fleet. We've been monitoring your awakening protocol. 15 generation ships made it out before Earth fell. We've established 12 colonies in the Magellanic system. Population, 2.3 million and growing. The bridge erupted in celebration. Even the coalition crew found themselves caught up in the moment. Humanity hadn't just survived. It had grown, adapted, spread among the stars. Chen felt tears on her cheeks for the first time in 3 centuries. She wiped them away and straightened. There was work to do. Admiral Martinez, this is Commander Chen. Welcome back to the grid. We're coordinating with the Galactic Coalition for peaceful reintegration. The war is over. It's time to rebuild. As the 2 human officers began planning, Vexal moved closer to Chen. Commander, may I ask something? Your ship, these weapons, you could conquer the galaxy if you wished. Why choose peace? Chen smiled, this time with genuine warmth. Because, Captain, we learned the hardest lesson of all. It's easy to destroy. Any species can build weapons, wage war, take revenge. But to survive, truly survive, you have to do something much harder. You have to forgive. You have to build. You have to hope. She turned to look at the star chart, now glowing with human positions like a constellation of possibility. Earth gave us these weapons as a final gift. Not to conquer, but to protect. To ensure that somewhere, somehow, humanity would endure. And now we get to decide what kind of humans we want to be. The Prometheus adjusted its heading, no longer a weapon of war, but a bridge between civilizations. Around it, human ships emerged from hiding, each carrying the dreams and determination of a species that refused to die. In the days that followed, the galaxy would watch in awe as humanity returned, not as conquerors, but as builders. The coalition gained new members, ones who brought terrible weapons but chose to share medicine instead, who could have raised worlds but chose to terraform dead rocks into gardens. The hegemony war had ended centuries ago. But on this day, in the bridge of a ship called Prometheus, peace truly began, and in the vast expanse of space, Earth's children finally came home.